Hello and welcome to Ladies with Tradies, how to stop shit hitting the fan in love, life and business. Today, I'm really pumped because I've got Brenton Williams from BJs Earthmoving with me today, and we're going to be talking about how important it is to delegate because it does save you bacon, and you will recognise another name that we'll probably drop in today's podcast. You'll be familiar with Claire, BJ's wife, who was on with us last month. So welcome, Beach. Good to have you. How you doing?
Thanks, Kate. I'm doing pretty good at the moment.
That's good. That's good. Thanks for joining us today. So just to give the punters a bit of overview why I've chosen you for this one, Beach. You've done shitloads of work in this space over the last couple of years as far as delegation goes. And, your coach, Josie, and I and you always have a bit of a laugh because you and I are very similar in a lot of ways when it comes to how we lead our teams. So I'm looking forward to today and having a bit of a laugh about that in amongst it all. But let's start back at the beginning, BJ. Give us a bit of a rundown about you, the company, where it started. Just give us the lowdown.
All right. Thanks, Kate. So anyway, I started my apprenticeship as a bridge carpenter back in 2001. And was in Langatha for 4 years doing that. Moved away because I sort of met Claire and we lived in Melbourne for a bit. And then I hated Melbourne, so we moved away and started working away in a mine up out of Broome. And was up there for 5 years. Claire ended up there driving a dump truck with me.
Which she didn't tell us about on the last episode, which is very interesting about Claire driving a dump truck.
Yeah, she drove 777 dump trucks for a year, and I guess while we were living in that small donga, things happened and Claire got pregnant, and I didn't want to sort of do that lifestyle and have kids and stuff. So while she was pregnant, I decided to buy a Bobcat and an old Ford Louisville truck, which was a 1970 model, and start from there. So started with one Bobcat and one truck, and we'd sort of saved a bit of money from Claire working up there that we'd put away. So while I literally sat at home waiting for the phone to ring, we lived off that for a bit. Claire got a job back at the childcare centre and just waited for the work to come in. And once it sort of started, it didn't stop. So
how long ago? So how old's Huey now? How long ago was
Huey's 11. So it was 2010 I started BJs Earthmoving in August, I think. So
beautiful.
Just coming out of winter, so it was a bit rough just before Christmas, but yeah, we managed to get going.
Had a crack?
Yeah.
So tell us, it sort of grew pretty quickly, Beach. So tell us a bit of where you're at now with numbers of bodies and machinery and that kind of thing.
So we're back down to 15 now, but from that one Bobcat, I got an excavator, and then it would have been about 3 or 4 years later, I put a bloke on, and then we started picking up a bit more work down Melbourne way on the rail and that. And so picked up another guy and another guy. So we were up to 4, 5 pretty quick. And the Melbourne work was sort of doing our heads in. We didn't really want to do it. So we started picking up shy contracts around here. So that 5 turned into 6 pretty quick. And probably, we've been going 10 years. So within 5 years, we sort of went from one person to 25, I think, when we started with you guys. And that was very chaotic. That's why I'm going grey now. So
you may both, mate.
Yeah. So we haven't culled anyone or done any of that. We've just, as people have left, we've moved the business model a bit and not taking on as much work, and just we're at a perfect sort of spot now with 15 people in total, including myself and Claire. And things are starting to pick up and going well.
That's so good. So I love that part of your story that you grew very, very rapidly and had huge numbers of people, and more people doesn't necessarily equal more in the bank account for people think, oh, I've just got to keep recruiting. And at the time the work could have been there, but times change and priorities change too. And grey hairs come and you change the way that you want to run your business. So it's been pretty cool to watch you guys do that. And it's a downsize that hasn't been forced. It's been, you've chosen to go that way as people have gone and done other things. So that's a cool thing. So tell us a bit about what life looked like, Beej, before you kind of started making these more proactive business decisions. Like how was the family, your relationship? What was time like for you? How did it used to be back then?
So basically it was me getting up. I still get up at 5, but get up at 5. And by 5:45, the phone was ringing.
Wow.
By some days, by about 1 o'clock, the call log would be full. So that's 109 calls.
Is that how many calls fit in a call log? Is it 109?
So by about lunchtime, the call log was full. And by 4 o'clock, it only go back to like 10 or 11 o'clock. So that works out to be, I was on the phone every 4 minutes during the working day. Basically, life wasn't, I didn't really get to see the kids that much. I was at work like 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. Marriage was beginning to be on the rocks a bit. Just away all the time, working. And if I wasn't working, I was on the phone. Yeah. So it wasn't working out real well for us. And health-wise too, like I was just eating shit and blowing out, and I'm drinking a lot to cope with the stress, I guess.
And it's such a common thing, Beej, especially when the stress is coming up. It's like we start as Australians and we go, oh, I've had a big day, I deserve a beer. And, you know, sometimes it just gets a bit out of hand, and the food that goes with it, and then the sleeplessness and the anxiety and all that kind of thing. I know I've experienced that myself in the past when I've not been too flash on the grog. So it's good for people to reflect and go, all right, well, how am I managing my stress? Is it food? Is it, you know, like not sleeping, or is it binge watching things or avoidance? There's a lot of different things that we do. So it was a pretty stressful time by the sound of it. You had pretty much no time to look after yourself or your family, which is pretty tough. What back then, I suppose, and you've done a lot of work in leadership and the structure of your team, and I'm going to ask you more about that. What were, back when you were doing it all and you're answering the phone all the time, you were in the machines back then too, weren't you? Like you were kind of doing a bit of everything.
I had no plan really. I'd just see where the day led me. And if someone needed a chop out in the machine or something, I'd go and do that. And then I'd be on the phone, and then I'd be in the truck, and then I'd be trying to do a heap of book work that people wanted done and quotes done. And it was really, I'm thinking about it now, I'm thinking, what the hell was I thinking? But the other thing too was I didn't have any time to actually spend with employees, and actually help them and show them what they could be doing to make my life easier. I was just trying to do the whole lot all at once.
It's the good old you're digging the trench wrong, so I'm going to jump in and dig it myself, isn't it? And because we try, it's such a challenge, delegation, where you go, right, I'm gonna work really hard at this, and I'm going to give somebody some trust, and then they fuck it up.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, that didn't fucking work, I'm going to do it myself. Did you have any of those experiences?
I did. Most of the guys I've employed over the course, like there was guys I've put on that I had no idea who they were or where they were from, but most of them have always sort of been a bit handpicked from around the area and known what they can do and how good they are at doing it. So I've been a little bit lucky in that sense. But there's plenty of times where you just think you think you've got to do it yourself because it'll be quicker and easier. But by the time you answer the phone a million times and you're on and off and running around, it actually works out a heap longer.
Yeah. Oh, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So what did you used to be scared of? Was it that just things wouldn't go right, or like what was the motivator for you to do all the things?
I think at one point, like even up until just a few months ago, the biggest thing I was always scared of is not being at work when the sun come up.
Mm-hmm.
Like not working when I've always been scared of not having enough work. And being scared like that, you're constantly taking on more work, and then you're constantly trying to do all that work, and you're doing all that. So I think that's the biggest thing that I was scared of, is not having enough work. And that probably comes from the very start when I just started and I was sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. But now I don't need to actually do that. I need to actually be knocking it back a little bit and concentrating on the jobs we've got going, and going that way.
And the work that you want. Yeah.
That was probably the biggest thing I was scared of, is not working at once sun comes up.
Wow.
The other stuff, like I've always known, like in the back of my head, I know the guys I've got can do the work we're doing, but then on the other hand, like I always felt guilty that they were doing it and I wasn't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I guess my role was to get them work for them to do.
Yeah.
And
to keep them in work.
Yeah, and that's what took a while to realise that.
And those 2 points, BJ, are absolute gold. So the fear of not having enough work, so you keep spinning the wheels, not necessarily planning for the type of work or choosing it wisely or ensuring that you're profitable with the right kind of work. Like you're just going, yep, because there's the fear of not having the work. And then, the thing is, it can end up being a bit of a feast or famine scenario there, because you're like, all right, I'm booked up now, I'm good to go. And then you go back out, and because you think you need to be in the trenches. And so many tradies do feel guilty. It's very common where, I should be out there on the tools at least a couple of days a week, because that's just what you do. Like you do the fight side by side thing, very wartime kind of mindset that says you don't let the blokes down.
Well, the thing is, like I've worked before I started my business. I've worked for people, and you work with the guys for someone else, and you always hear, such and such should be out here giving us a hand, and right. So you've got that mentality built in already.
Yeah.
But it's just a really, really hard trying to knock it out of you. So.
Yeah. And it is ingrained in the industry for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you go about thinking differently? So you said, until I came around to that, I have to find the work and plan the work, how did you go about thinking differently in order to go, nah, I've got to delegate stuff?
Well, sort of like you were saying before, the wheels were spinning, and we were taking on jobs that we had no idea how to even do them. We were just taking on jobs that weren't profitable at all, that were costing us money just because they were a job and people were working.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing that helped was getting in touch with you and Josie for a start. And I guess when you started with us, you could see that I was just a mess. Chook with its head cut off, running around.
You were very busy, yes, BJ, you were.
Yeah. So once we started breaking it down with Josie, basically, and actually working, and it took, like we've been with you guys for a couple of years now, and I reckon it's only the last 6 months really that things have started knitting into place.
Yeah.
But it was breaking down what we were doing, like what things were costing us and what I was costing the business, out running around doing all this stuff that I should have just been here doing the stuff that I do now.
And sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, can you? And it's really hard to break that cycle. I know myself because I'm going through it too. We've got to, as leaders, we've got to look after the team, like you mentioned earlier, and then the team looks after the clients and the customers.
Yeah.
Once you kind of break your team up into the right structure, we're no good going direct to customers anymore because we've got to be doing other things in the business, developing it and, doing other stuff. The team are the ones who have got to do the work with the people, the customers in the end.
Yeah.
So what, so you said you broke it down, you looked at your money situation, like the financial situation, it was costing for you to be doing what you're doing in the business. Where did you start with delegation? Like, what was your process?
The first one was when we first started winning our Shire stuff. It was fair few years ago now. At one point I just knew there's absolutely no way I can do all this on my own. So that's when I employed Dad.
Yeah.
So he'd been at the Shire for years and years and years. So I got him on. So that was the first big relief because he could sort of look after the job and the guys on the ground a lot more while I sort of had time. But then that made me go out and get more work and more work. So then he was doing a good job there.
So you put Cole in to do like supervise the jobs and the people. So he kind of was the job manager or supervisor.
Yeah, well, to start off with, he was going to do that and do the tenders and stuff like that. But it ended up being he sort of had to be on the ground with the guys and manage that type of thing. So and he does a really good job of that. He's good at finishing the job off and just getting it done. So and we really needed that. Then the second one was we employed Whitey. So he came on. It was just at the start of COVID and he'd lost his job with Holden and never been in this industry before and knew a lot about Excel and stuff like that. And he came on and set up a lot of spreadsheets and stuff like that for pricing. Yep. And then we won Bear Street. And so he was good there, but then he got offered another job back at the Proving Grounds, so he had to sort of go and do that. Yeah.
So you put in an estimator, really a person that was doing, for all intents and purposes and other businesses' perspectives, quoting and that kind of thing. He was doing
and we also had Kay in the office and Claire was doing payroll at the time. Yeah. So that side was all sort of getting done. But like then when Whitey was here, that worked really well because he would get invoices ready for Kay to send out and all that. So when he left, we got Sophie over and we've been training her up, which has been going really well. And since then we've got Dowdy on board as well. So between Dowdy, Sophie and Cole sort of thing, there's a lot less delegation I have to do now. They sort of run the jobs now. And it's been a huge relief. Like I'm still flat out all day, every day, but actually doing work that's meaningful.
Yeah. So you've put people, would you say you've recruited or you've put people around you that are good at some of the stuff that maybe you lack in a bit or?
Yeah, 100%. Because the stuff that Dowdy and Sophie do, I have absolutely no idea how to do that. Yeah, I'm not real computer skilled at all. Mm-hmm. So, and then Cole has been sort of training up a couple of other guys in doing his rocks. He's looking at retiring hopefully next year. Yeah. So, and that's the other thing, we've got to sort of start having a plan for that, like having people trained up to fit these roles in case people leave or because I can't go back to running around like I was.
No. So you've got Cole's, so he's still in job management out and about, really, like he's managing the people out on site. So you've got the person in that role. You've got Sophie, Dowdy in the office who are kind of managing tendering, quoting, management of resources and machinery. They manage that.
Yeah, so Sophie does a lot of that now. She manages all machinery and sort of the guy, like where the guys are going and what jobs we can take on and what we can't. So basically the last couple of days I've been slapped on the wrist and no more work for this year. Right. She's been really good at that because I've still got that mentality. Oh, we'll take it, we'll do it, we'll get there. And then you let people down and you end up getting a bad name for yourself. So
have you found since some of the work you've stripped it away from yourself and you've done this great job of delegation, do you find sometimes that you're a bit, oh, like, what do I do? Where am I at? Like, you've always got things to do, but do you ever have those moments of, I'll just poke my nose back in over here, or do you feel like that?
Yeah, as Josie said, like, we've got fences now and there's gates, and every now and then I open the gate and just get in the paddock and run around wild, but they chase me out pretty quick and shut.
Get you back out and shut the gate and put the fence back around. So we talk about fences a bit, and so what Beej means by the fences for the listeners is you are the business owner. So that for you there are gates in the fences, but you've got to be fenced in or out of areas so that you don't meddle or break shit, basically. So the staff might open the gate and welcome you through. And just occasionally, though, if we're feeling a little bit stressed as business owners, we might open the gate and walk through the fence. But most of the time, if we delegate really well, the people who are in those positions are like, get the bloody hell out of here. Like, we don't need to be meddling here. So that's a bit fun.
It's good because Sophie's starting to build up like a bit of confidence now to tell me to get out, shut the gate, don't just leave her alone. Whereas before, like, I'd come in every morning and she'd have the board done, and by the time she got in there, I'd have everyone changed around, and I'd just meddle with things all the time. So now, like, just this morning, I was thinking about all this, like, and sitting with Claire this morning, I said, oh, I'm doing this podcast with you. It's about delegation. And Claire goes, why are you doing it? You're no good at delegation. And I said, well, I'm sitting here talking to you, aren't I? And she goes, oh, I guess you're right. And that was about 7:30 this morning. So
you're having your morning coffee, having a nice relaxed start. You're not, having to be there at sunrise and the whole show's running without you.
Yeah, that's right. So I've just literally had 2 weeks off and everything has ran smooth and there's been no dramas and everyone's doing their job. So
it's a funny feeling, isn't it? When I had a couple of months off and I come back, I'm like, oh, right, what am I going to have to fix? And everything's fine. You kind of go, oh, it's a bit of a weird feeling, isn't it? Oh, they don't actually need us.
Yeah.
So tell us, what do you love the most in your business now that you've kind of stripped away the stuff that you're not maybe the best at? What do you love doing in your business now?
I love actually going out and I get on the tools every now and then with the guys, give them a hand. I've got a bit more schedule in my life now. Like, Sophie's sort of running my calendar a bit, tells me what days I'm allowed to go out and work, what days I have to be in the office.
So good.
So, but no, I'm starting to get a bit more love for it again. Like, at one point there, I was just done. I was over it. I just wanted it out, basically, and it wasn't going to happen. But now I'm starting to like it more and get out there, get around the jobs a bit, help, like, finance. I love doing finance now.
Spreadsheets. You're a bit obsessed with your spreadsheets, aren't you?
Yeah, no, it's
for the person who says he's not very computer literate, I would say, how often would you be in your numbers nowadays, Beej, compared to a few years ago?
A couple of times a week. I'm like in deep with the numbers, but every day I sort of check things.
Yeah.
And look. Whereas when I started with you guys, I didn't even look at Xero or even emails. I was just scared.
That's so good. And it's been a huge transformation. And these guys won our dollar bills award at our shindig last year because they've turned their business so far around financially. So that's been a pretty exciting thing to watch. So tell us, what have been the overall benefits for you and your family, because you've delegated?
So this year and last year we went away for 6 weeks, so 2 6-week holidays year after year, which has been good. And even like last week, Claire went to Hobart for work, and the week before that I was in Perth for a funeral, so literally had 2 weeks off to look after kids and be away, and things have ran smooth. And life's getting a lot better. Like I'm getting back into I love my lawn, so having time to work on that after work and round the garden and seeing the kids, like Rexy's too. He's probably seen me more than any of the kids put together, really.
Yeah, because you've got these guys have got a couple of older kids. So Huey's 11. How old's Tilds?
9.
9, and then Rexy's 2. So that's nice that, you know, Rexy's got you around heaps. So.
And Claire's a counsellor, and so every Wednesday I stay home in the mornings and get the kids off to school, and she's got a big day, I'll pick them all up and do all that sort of thing. So, and then Tuesdays I've started doing personal training, so just stuff like that I've never been able to do or even think about.
Yeah, and it's all just happening around you and for you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's all sort of just started knitting together and everything works.
That's bloody beautiful. And so what would you say to people who are maybe where you were when you were running around like the headless chook and just trying to do it all and scared, like worried about delegating or worried there won't be enough work, so you're just doing everything? Like, what would you say to those people who are struggling to let go of stuff?
The best thing like I did is like work with you guys, talk to people and have someone on the outside helping you and trying to make you realize that you're not Superman. You can't actually do all that stuff by yourself. Whereas I was thinking that, and then having Josie just tell me, no, you're not. You actually need to do this, and then putting it on paper and showing the actual numbers as to like, if you put this person on, you're actually going to save yourself money and time. So seeing that, that blew me mind, and it's actually worked. So
you seem shocked, mate. You seem shocked.
Oh no, well, the saying is if something's too good to be true, it obviously is. But this actually, it was, and it worked. So
I said the other day in one of our group coaching programs, I said, hire staff because you can no longer hide behind the veil of your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you have to be better for them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean put on more people necessarily. It means put the right people in for the right roles, and they will force you to be a better leader and a better manager, because they come in and hire people that you're shit scared of, who have got way better skill sets than you, because all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I'm out of my depth here. And it makes you go, well, for me, it has. They're really good at that. So I'm just going to stay behind my fence, and I'm not even going to open the gate because I'm nowhere near as good at it as that person.
Well, that's where we're at the moment, and it's working out really well for us all. So, but it doesn't happen straight away. Like it's taken nearly 3 years now to get to this point. So it's just hard work, trying to change your mindset and delegate.
That's right. And just delegate, which is the whole point of this podcast.
Or just put trust into people. And it's hard to put trust into people when we've got a fair sized business. So you actually putting trust into people to do high end stuff, and they're seeing numbers and they're stressed because they're big numbers that they're not used to.
Yeah.
And it's working with them and calming them down, and then they can do their job better. And so
certainly the role changes big time once you step back and go, hang on, my job's to look after them, so they look after our business for us.
And that's sort of what I've become now. I've become a bit of a coach to them. Supporting them if they've got questions and stuff, helping them, and they're doing an absolute fantastic job. So.
They are. We hear good things about BJs Earthmoving staff all the time, and I've been lucky to work with a couple of them on the screen myself. So you guys have done incredible things in a short time, Beej. You think it feels like 3 years is a long time, but to turn especially an earth moving company around, or to nudge it's like a battleship. But you guys have done a huge amount of work to get it to where it is. So big congrats on that. Any other gems you want to throw out there for everybody?
I got told this when I started my business, and I probably should have listened to it a bit wiser, but a guy once told me, he said, it's harder to stay small than to go big.
Yeah.
And he's exactly right, because it's so hard to knock back work. It's so easy to just take it on, but yeah, the more you take on, the more headaches you got. And not that employees are headaches, it's just you've got the headache of managing everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yeah, big is not always better.
100%, mate. That is an absolute gem. And, you know, a big top line does not mean a healthy bottom line. And we want people to have really healthy net profits and not worry about the income at the top, because as I'm fairly sure you guys have found out, you can keep your top line the same and have a very much healthier bottom line. You can maintain revenue and be healthier in profitability, or you can even reduce revenue and be healthier in profitability if you do it the right way. So that's a bloody gem. Thanks heaps for that, Beej. So plans for, you know, you're going to be shooting off again anytime soon? Got some more trips planned?
Well, just the ladies with Tradies Christmas party.
Oh yeah, a couple of weeks we'll keep a few in.
But next year, go up to Darwin with you guys yourselves, and yeah, we'll probably do Darwin down to Broome. 6 weeks doing that. So
beautiful. Look forward to it. Good on you, mate. You've done a great job. Thanks so much. So I know everybody will get heaps of value from that, BJ. It's been great to hear more about BJs Earthmoving and where you've taken it over the last 10 years and all the ups and downs, and it's all up from here though, mate. So congrats. Thanks for today.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
All right.